Last two episodes, we explored two powerful mythic frameworks, hero's journey and the heroine's journey. Each describes a different path of psychological development. But there's a deeper question underneath both of those journeys. And that's what allows us to actually grow. Because growth rarely happens in isolation. It happens in relationship with ourselves, with other people, and with perspectives that challenge the way we see the world. And right now, that kind of relationship can feel increasingly difficult. Our culture often rewards certainty over curiosity, quick judgments over careful listening, and belonging through opposition, defining ourselves by what we're not. When that happens, connection breaks down, dialogue shuts down, and people begin to see each other less as complex human beings and more as categories or enemies. In this episode, Charmaine and I explore a simple but powerful shift, choosing curiosity over judgment, not as a form of passive agreement, but as a practice that makes connection, community, and real understanding possible. It's something that we all need desperately in this time in our lives. And so with that, please join Charmaine and I as we explore curiosity over judgment. So, curiosity over judgment.
Yes.
So I am curious.
Great start.
Yes. So I feel like this is a thing that people really struggle with.
Yeah.
For you personally, what is it about curiosity that's so important?
I would say curiosity engages our prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for our higher levels of thinking. It engages empathy. It engages rationality. Mm-hmm. It engages our ability to be present in the moment, mindfulness. Curiosity affects all of those things. So absolutely so important.
Yeah, I love that. Can you say more about how it engages the prefrontal cortex?
So our prefrontal cortex is responsible for our higher levels of thinking, right? It's our ability to stay present rather than responding from our lizard brain, right? Which is all reactionary.
Yeah.
When we are engaged with our prefrontal cortex, we're present, we're rational, we're logical, we're able to be compassionate, we're able to have empathy, we're able to be present in the moment, engage mindfulness, all of those different things. And curiosity is one of the big things that when we're in our lizard brain can re-engage our prefrontal cortex. Curiosity, connection, and mindfulness. Those are the big three that I'm always talking to clients about. But curiosity is a big one. And it can be engaged in so many different ways. It's so versatile. So, yeah, curiosity all the way.
Yeah. I love the difference between prefrontal cortex and lizard brain.
Yeah.
Because the way I often think about curiosity is it's a measure or an indicator of capital S self.
Yes.
Which is... when we think about prefrontal cortex, we're thinking I'm in self energy versus I'm in a defense mode.
Right.
The lizard brain.
Right.
Which so often the things that prevent us from being curious are the things that are actually serving to protect us. Like part of us feels like we're under threat in some way.
Right.
And so we have protectors that come online that prevent curiosity.
Right. Right. Which if we can flip the script and get curious about those parts... right. And this is why doing that somatic work, doing that mindfulness work, doing IFS, all of that is a way to kind of flip the script. And it almost creates a dissociation that's intentional and that's therapeutic, right? If I'm able to, this is a big thing they talk about in the IFS stuff, right? If I'm able to be with the experience rather than in the experience, it's almost an intentional therapeutic dissociation. I'm able to be curious about what's happening in my body, in my environment. I'm able to be curious about how I'm responding to another person. So that lizard brain gets activated. We freak out. Our parts come up and is, trying to protect us, defend against any perceived threat, whatever. But if we're able to get curious about all of those different processes, we're slowly re-engaging that prefrontal cortex again.
Yeah, which I love that, where curiosity isn't just about being curious about other people,
Yeah.
but curious about ourselves.
Yes.
And gives us insight into our experience.
This is why I say it's so versatile, right? Because yes, curiosity about yourself, curious about other people, so important for interpersonal relationships. But yeah, so I'll tell you a story. The first time that I saw this like process in myself that I can like remember and specifically point to, I was in my 30s, and it was months after I had experienced a big T trauma. And I was in a training, CPR and first aid training, and they were talking about, you know, when something happens, first thing you get somebody to call 911, right? And a part of my big T trauma was that I had to call 911 for this trauma. And so when they were talking about this, all of the things started happening. My palms were getting sweaty. I was feeling hot and cold all at the same time. My heart rate went up. And I was like, what the heck is happening here? Right. And I, so lucky, I was able to get curious in that moment because I really didn't understand what was happening. I didn't realize that like I was being triggered and that I was like on my way to a panic attack. And so, you know, I kind of sat back and was like, what is happening? Why is this happening? What, my palms are getting sweaty and my heart rate's going crazy. And why do I feel like I'm sweating, but I'm also really cold? And then it occurred to me, I was like, oh, I just got triggered. Like what everybody's talking about. Like I was actually triggered with this thing. And so I was able to like be curious about this physiological process and was fascinated by my body's reaction to just somebody explaining first thing you do when something is going on is you call 911. And it was able to pull me out of, and I never got to that panic attack part, thank goodness. But yeah, I was able to re-engage my prefrontal cortex, see all of the processes going on, and calm down.
Just so beautiful to be able to be so aware of the body and what's happening, and to be able to be engaged with why is this happening?
Yeah.
What's really going on?
Yeah.
And then to just see by being curious, it actually gives us space from what's happening inside.
Yes, exactly. That's that therapeutic dissociation.
Which is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
I actually had a similar experience just recently.
Yeah.
Like the last week or two. You know, like I finished my master's degree, I finally get licensed, and all of a sudden my workload shifts. I'm doing work that I haven't had to do in a while just by increasing my hours, increasing my workload.
Right.
It's like normal stuff. And I felt like I was coming out of my skin like all the time. I'm so stressed. I can't get any of my work done. Like I can show up and be in like a therapeutic presence with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, finally, I can be in the pocket.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, here's all of the admin things that go with it. And I'm getting behind, and like the anxiety is building, the stress is building, my distress tolerance is decreasing.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm talking to Deb, and it's like, I feel like I'm coming out of my skin, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was willing to get curious about it and say, well, why am I so just feeling like I'm spinning out?
Yeah.
Why am I so stressed all the time? Why do I feel like I'm on the edge of just having a freak out? And that gave me a ton of insight, and actually led to some really beautiful therapeutic experiences.
Yeah.
Where realizing, oh, I feel really powerless right now, and here's why I feel really powerless right now, and here's the source of that powerlessness, and here's what needs to happen to go to that. Which was so powerful for me in being able to unburden some of that experience of being powerless.
Aww.
But it didn't start until I was able to say, why? Like, why am I really feeling this way?
Yes. Okay. So this is what I'm wondering is how do you think you got to that point, like in your whole life, not just in this one particular instance, but how do we build that habit of curiosity? How do we get to that point where our instinct goes, oh, let's get curious about this. Let's ask the questions.
Well, that's a great question on its own. And I'm thinking back to some experiences that I've had where I actually had situations where my assumption or my judgment of the situation turned out to be really wrong.
Okay.
Where something happened and I thought, oh, this person's such a jerk. Like, this is obviously what's happening. And then it turned out that I was way off base and had to dial it back. And so I've had to, and I'm not always great at this. Like there are plenty of times when I still do this, but I've had to learn to dial it back and just say the way that I see the world, the way I interpret the world is not always accurate, even if it's valid.
Ooh, yes. I love that dialectic, right? It may be valid and it also may be incorrect.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of that came from school. I think, you know, a master's degree in counseling or psychology is going to do that, but not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody wants to do that like whole process.
Yeah.
But we can at least come back and say like my assessment and my judgment of any given moment is very valid.
Yes.
It is informed by a lifetime of data points.
Yes.
Which are all valid reasons to see the world that I do.
Yeah.
And also, that may not be accurate to what is happening in front of me.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Yeah. That's fantastic. I'll tell you, I think the thing for me that did it was developing an appreciation for the question. Whatever the question was, outside of the answer to the question, is just developing an appreciation for questions, whatever they are. Like just sitting with the question sometimes is enough to like shift something without even having an answer. I saw a comic years and years ago that was, you know, two people sitting on a bench having a conversation about questions, and one being really like, no, questions are bad. And the other was like, oh no, questions are amazing. And I collect them like rocks, you know. I was like, okay, yeah, I want to be that person who's curious in that way, that the question becomes the prize.
There's like a certain capacity for innocence that comes in there.
Yeah.
We often look at questions through this lens of that childlike state of asking why.
Yeah.
But we've trained ourselves to see that as irritating or annoying or burdensome.
Well, and as a judgment too, right? Like as an adult, somebody asks, why are you doing it that way? We often hear, and I see this so much, especially in counseling couples, a question becomes a question of your expertise, a question of your ability to do something, right? Why are you doing this way? Isn't a like curiosity, hey, tell me about your processes. I actually think this is really cool. The interpretation is, oh, you think I'm doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah, where we look at questions as a shame-oriented experience.
Yes.
You're asking me a question, therefore I'm somehow wrong or not enough.
Yes. I had this happen in grad school where I was asking a teacher a question. I genuinely didn't understand a concept. And I was like, I don't understand why, 1 + 1 = 3 in this situation in my head. And he was like, why are you questioning my authority? And I was like, I'm questioning you because you are the authority. Like, this is not, I'm coming to you because you should have the answer. Anyway, it was a big misunderstanding. It all got worked out. But yeah, I think so oftentimes as adults, I think it's also like a neurotypical versus neurodivergent thing, is that those questions become a threat rather than an opportunity. Right.
Well, and we have learned culturally that to be questioned, to someone to express a question is actually a statement of judgment.
Right.
As opposed to saying, I really don't think you're doing this the most effective way possible.
Right.
Can you help me understand your process that got you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is to say, I don't like how you're doing this.
Yeah.
I also want to understand how you got here. Yeah. We try and combine them all into one, and we use the question as like a weapon, as like a
very passive way of getting the information we want.
Right.
Yeah, which is such a bummer.
It is, because then now all of a sudden questions are a tool for disconnection.
Right.
Where curiosity is a tool for connection.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. 100%. Okay, let's talk about that. Curiosity is a tool for connection.
It is. Well, when we are curious, it's a marker for self-energy, capital S self-energy.
Right.
That kind of curiosity, it doesn't have an agenda. It is really, the only intention here is to seek understanding.
Right.
To understand ourselves or the person across from us.
Yeah.
In a more deep and wholesome way.
Yeah.
As a way to be able to see them, hear them, see their experience as valid.
Yes.
And to help them feel seen and heard and understood.
Okay, this is the number one struggle I see in couples coming through for counseling purposes is their inability to listen to each other and hear what is being said about the other.
Yeah.
That we all listen for what is being said about us. And I often try to add a little levity and lightness when I'm trying to explain this to people that you're not listening for what the person is telling you about them. You're only listening for what they're telling you about you. But don't feel bad. We all do that. I happen to go to grad school to learn how to not do that. And very few people have done that. But I'm here to teach you how to listen from a place of curiosity about what they're telling you about them. Because even I had an ex who told me this, and it has always stuck with me. I mean, probably over a decade ago, that he said that somebody is always telling you something about themselves. Even if they're telling you something about you, they're always telling you something about themselves too.
Right.
Yeah. And people just don't understand that. They don't get that for, again, very understandable reasons.
Totally. Well, because we do so often when we're in an interpersonal interaction, we do have our lizard brain turn on.
Yeah.
And anytime that we are coming from a place of protection rather than connection, then often what we're doing is we're actually pushing people away.
Yeah.
We're saying, no, you are now a threat to me.
Yeah.
Even if it's not accurate, part of us feels that way. And so we push away.
Yeah.
Push away. I don't need to understand you. I need to terminate this conversation, or I need to establish some other agenda.
Right.
Like when we get really angry, there's a really valid reason for that.
Yeah.
Typically, we're advocating and expressing a need for a boundary. We're saying something needs to change. Some boundary line has been crossed.
Right.
This is no longer appropriate.
Right.
That makes part of me feel threatened in some way.
Right.
And I need to advocate for change.
Yes.
Anger does that.
Yes, it does.
I also can't be curious about you if I'm angry.
Yes. Yeah.
They're in conflict with each other, and the anger always wins.
Yes. Well, and this is why it's also so important to be able to understand ourselves and our patterns, because this is another thing I see too, is where, one person in the communication is getting angry for something that the other person didn't say. And then I got to slow down and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whose voice did you hear when you said that? Because I don't think it was this person's voice. Who told you that a long time ago? What did you hear? What has been ingrained into your database that is making this interpret into that?
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think really lends itself to a skill that is important to develop. Well, several skills are important to develop to help enhance our capacity for curiosity.
Okay.
One of them is that when we are in a conversation with another person, we can take a parts-based approach to it.
Right.
Which is to say, when you and I are in a conversation, each of us will have protective parts that are online
Yes.
at any given moment.
Right.
What we need to learn to do is to take turns whose parts are allowed to be present in the conversation.
Yes.
So if we imagine that our internal system is a stage and our parts are in there kind of acting up, what I can do is I can negotiate with my parts and say, hey, listen, I get it. And we're going to take turns.
Yeah.
Right now it's their turn.
Yeah.
Can you take a step back?
Yeah.
And anytime a part's not willing to do that, we can just speak to that and say, hey, I really want to hear you out real fast. I have a part that isn't able to step back. Can you just help me with this piece of it?
Yeah.
So that I can now hear your part of it.
Yes.
So first we got to clear the stage so that I can now be present with the other person.
Yes.
Which is actually quite a difficult skill.
Yes. Oh, it is.
And then we go into our active listening.
Yeah.
Where I want to make sure I really understand and that the other person knows that I understand.
Yeah.
So I'm reflecting.
Yeah.
I'm validating.
Yeah.
And I'm asking clarifying questions.
Yes. Well, and curiosity to me really has always been a part of that validation thing. They're one and the same to me. Being curious about somebody is validating them. It's validating their existence, right? Their experience is valid. Even if it's not my experience, even if it's not even based on truth or whatever else, it's still important. It's still valid. And being curious about that tells that. So the way I teach this with clients is always let's start having conversations 2 sentences at a time. Because if I can hear 2 sentences, then I can much more easily like either repeat back or validate or ask clarifying questions. Whereas if you're coming at me with 5 minutes of information, I don't know where to start, right? But 2 sentences at a time, I can go, okay, what I heard you say is, repeat it back, sometimes even word for word, sometimes even doing it word for word will like change the way we hear it, right? Activate that curiosity, hopefully. But yeah, it's so hard to teach this to people.
It is. It really is. I think in part because we live in a very competitive society.
When so individualistic.
Right.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And if I see myself as always in competition, where I'm competing for love, for attention,
for resources.
Right.
Yeah.
To be seen as successful.
Yeah.
If that is a competitive driven, like a competition driven mindset, it's really difficult to actually validate another person's experience.
Yes.
Because we have this idea, this maladaptive idea that says, by validating you, I'm invalidating me.
Yes.
And
yes.
Well, I think what you and I are saying is that both stories can be valid at once.
Yes.
Even if they actually disagree.
The way that I describe that in hopefully a very succinct way that is easily to digest is that you can validate somebody's experience without validating a belief, right?
How so?
Okay, so let's say somebody comes to me with like, hey, you did this thing that was so harmful and hurtful to me that I just don't even know if we can be friends anymore. And I'm going to immediately defensively go, well, that is not what I meant, right? But if I can approach it and go, oh, if I thought somebody had done that to me, I wouldn't want to be friends with them either. And I can go, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense that you're so hurt by this thing that you saw me do or say or whatever that you don't know if we can be friends anymore. I can understand that experience, even if that's not what I meant, said, did, intended, whatever else. So you can validate the experience without validating the belief. And oftentimes what we're doing is dropping the rope in a game of tug of war.
Yeah.
Right? Because if somebody's coming to me and telling me, asking me, see this thing, see this thing, see this thing, and I'm pulling on that rope and saying, no, you need to see this thing over here, that tension will always exist between us on that rope. But if I drop that rope and come over to their side and go, oh, I see what you're saying, that makes sense. That makes sense that you would be hurt by that.
Right.
That tension then disappears. And then hopefully I can go, can I apologize? Can I explain what I was thinking, what was going on? Can I help you try to see things from the other side? And oftentimes, because that tension is no longer there, they're not fighting against anything. They'll go, okay, yeah. And I can go, okay, this is what I meant. I am so sorry that this is how it came across. This is what I meant. This is what I was wanting to hope. Does that help? Do you understand? Right? And you can do that from that place of curiosity rather than defensiveness, protectiveness, whatever else.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the thing that comes to mind around this is the saying of seek first to understand.
Right.
And then to be understood.
Yes.
And it feels like this is what we're saying.
Yeah. Where
we can't both, like we can't have a competing agenda to be understood.
Right.
And it's okay to take turns. It is really okay to say,
yes,
I can really see how you would get where you got.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I can still understand it.
Exactly. I can validate that experience that you have had over there, even if it's not accurate.
Right. And then once they know that we understand them,
exactly,
then we can then ask for the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Granted, they may not be able to do that.
Yeah.
Which that's a really great communication for us to receive.
Yes. It's information. It's all data.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me where you're at.
Yes.
It may also be that they're not in a place where they can, like their nervous system is able to hold anything.
Yeah.
That's super fair. We may need to just pause and come back.
Yeah.
And even just acknowledge that and say like, hey, look, I can see you're still really upset.
Yeah.
I would love to continue this conversation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need to be able to feel settled?
Yeah.
Do we just need to come back to it later?
Yeah.
Because I really, I have a piece of this puzzle too, and I'd really love to share that with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may say, no, I never want to talk to you again.
Yeah.
That's
and
fair.
yeah, and that happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then my answer is always like, great, that was a fantastic litmus test. Now you know this person is not your person. Like, okay, great. We've got gathered some data and we're able to hopefully eventually move on.
Yeah. And I think where this gets really tricky is where we start to deal with some more high intensity situations.
Yes, very tricky in those. I think also very tricky when we're more connected, right? The people I have deeper, more meaningful, longer relationships with, it is a whole lot scarier for me to do those things. I can do it with a client easily. I can do it with acquaintances, with people I work with easily. But in a romantic relationship, in a close friendship, it is terrifying to do those things.
Yeah. What is it about the closeness of relationship that you feel like makes it harder?
I would say for me, I mean, I don't know if this is accurate for everybody. It probably is. But for me, there's a whole lot more to lose, right? If somebody rejects my offer for validation and curiosity and then inviting them to do the same, and, you know, I'm just a casual acquaintance with them and they say no, thank you. I'm all right, great. Like, cool. I hope you find your people. But if it's somebody that I love and care deeply about, and I've given that part of myself to them and they say no, thank you, that is a deeper wound.
Right. Which is very real.
Yeah.
The anxiety of rejection.
Yeah. It's rough. That's just me though. How do you handle it?
Well, one of the things, because I experience a very similar fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've had to learn to do is to speak to that.
Get curious about it.
Right.
Huh.
So, for example, I have a good friend. It's their birthday this week. And they want to go, because it's Friday the 13th, they want to go do like Flash Day.
Yeah.
Go get Flash tattoos.
Yeah.
Cool. Which a couple people did together last month. And they were like, Dan, come along. And
Yeah.
I didn't have time to be there all day with them or for a couple hours with them, because I came from a session and then I had a break and then I had more clients in the afternoon. And I was like, okay, I'll come hang out. No big deal.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I know I need to talk to my partner about this. And I feel really anxious about it. And I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to talk to you about this thing. It's a scheduling question. Scheduling feels safe.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And she looked at me and she was like, this doesn't feel like a scheduling question. I was like, you're right. It's not a scheduling question.
Yes.
I'm asking you if you feel okay with me going and doing this thing.
Yeah.
She's like, well, yeah, of course I'm fine with that. Why would you think I wouldn't be?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm really worried that somehow you'll feel like I'm putting you in the position of being the bad guy, where you'll feel like you'll not feel okay with this. And then you'll feel like by advocating for that, you'll feel resentful that I made you be the one to say no to something that I should have said no to in advance. And then that resentfulness will lead you to no longer care about me enough. And then eventually you'll leave me and no longer love me anymore.
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, like, good job being able to like articulate and do all that. Because I'd just been like, I don't know. I just don't like this.
Right. And for a long time, I've had to and it took me a couple of days to be able to do this, where I was like, I feel anxious and I don't know why. I feel anxious and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to start. And then in the moment, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this. Well, why do I feel that way?
Yeah.
Well, because of this. Well, why do I feel that way? Because of this.
Right.
And what happened was that as I just kept getting more curious about what my experience was, and by saying, why do I feel this way? It's like, I have this deep down fear of being completely alone and unlovable, right?
Yep.
And also by speaking to that, by saying, I'm asking you this thing and it doesn't make sense to you because of this thing that's inside of me, this part of me that is really afraid of this.
Right.
We got to have the conversation that needed to happen.
Yes.
Which is like, oh, that's what's happening for you?
Right.
Can I speak to that experience?
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening was that by being more curious about my own experience and then speaking to what was happening, it gave the other person, in this case my partner, a chance to be able to actually speak to what was really going on inside.
Yeah.
Which was, I'm afraid of being unlovable and alone.
Yes.
So we got to have that conversation.
Yes.
And then we came back to the original one of like, yeah, of course, cool, no big deal. Like this is during, when you'd normally be at work. I don't care what you do during the workday.
Yeah.
Like in this context.
Yeah.
Like this is the financial agreement that we've already is like where you're going to have disposable income. Like we each have disposable income for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'm not asking to take away time we'd already be spending together.
Right.
Like, which is a relationship boundary we've talked about.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, of course I wouldn't care about that because here's the things we've already agreed on for this exact situation.
Yeah. Aw, that went so well. I love though too that this curiosity that you had about the experience you were having. Why am I anxious about this? That you sat with this for an extended period of time. Curiosity doesn't always just happen in a moment, right? Like, why is this thing happening? Oh, okay, I know X, Y, and Z. Now I can move on. That sometimes sitting in that curiosity leads you to, step 1, step 2, step 3, all the way down to, oh, and I really love this. You got down to that core fear, right? It wasn't just, I'm afraid my partner's going to say no after, digging down. It's like, oh, this is that, like, I'm afraid I'm unlovable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be.
Yes.
And we can't always speak to that.
Yeah.
We can, however, get to a place where we can like have a deeper explanation for the whatever is the why in the moment.
Yes.
Of like, I need to talk to you about this thing. I'm concerned about it because I have a lot of vulnerabilities on the table.
Yeah.
And I'm really worried about what would happen if we were to lose that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be as deep as we're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We share a lot of vulnerability, and that's an uncomfortable place for me sometimes. And I would love it to not have that vulnerability rejected.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Good job. Good job. All of the things. And I love so much that curiosity was such a big part of all of that like being curious about yourself, being able to take that to your partner, her being curious about it. Like, whoa, wait, where's, rather than being like, this is dumb, like, you don't need to be worried about this, telling you how you should feel. She got curious about it. Hey, where is this coming from? What's happening? Tell me more.
Right.
Yeah.
Which the cool thing about that is that it actually increased the safety and connection in the relationship.
As it does.
So, because I could have very easily been like, okay, I'm just going to go do this thing. And actually it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something else going on.
Yeah.
And rather than her being, like you said, like just being like kind of snappy and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like having more of a judgmental response.
Yeah.
Which probably like in those instances, like it does activate more of a shame/anger paradigm in my system.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, wow, like I'm an idiot. And then it's also like, why are you making me feel like an idiot?
Yeah. I think so oftentimes too, especially with like our partners or people we're very close to, like they come to us with a problem or whatever. And our immediate thing is like, well, obviously here's your answer. Here's your fix for it. Like, why is this a thing? I did this once with my bestie. She was coming to me, asking me like, what should I say to somebody, a friend or a family member for a situation? And I was like, oh, this is what you should say. And she kept pushing back against like all of these different like offerings that I had for her for what she should say in this particular situation. And I finally was like, okay, like this clearly isn't working. I don't have all the information. I need to take a step back. And so then I was like, well, what is it that you're hoping to get out of this conversation? What's the like end goal? What are you hoping she'll say? What are you hoping will happen as a result of this conversation? And she gave me an answer and I was like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense. Try this. And she's like, everything immediately calmed down and she was like, yes. Right. And it was just that simple, like curiosity, trying to understand my friend a little bit more, what it was that she was hoping for, that was able to like just get everybody calmed down. And then we did get to a solution.
Yeah.
But it was the curiosity that got us there rather than my immediately like, oh, I can fix this. I'm a word wizard, whatever.
Right. Which is hard. I also think sometimes one of the challenges is that either we don't always know what's happening inside, or the person we're talking to doesn't always know what's happening inside.
Oh, yes, that's absolutely true. This also happened with my kid recently. This was several months ago. They got mad at me for something that I was like, I don't understand why you're mad about this. This was like not a big deal. And he kept saying it was because it delayed what we were doing. And I was like, but it only delayed what we were doing by like 2 minutes. I did not understand. And so I kept trying to fix it and being like, you shouldn't be upset for this. Like, this is not something we're still doing the thing you wanted to do. We were just delayed by 2 minutes. And then finally, my like good little going to be curious and the adult here and the more emotionally mature one kicked in. I was like, okay, I got to take a step back. This doesn't need to be fixed. This just needs to be heard and held. And I got to try and understand why this was so upsetting to him. And I finally got to it and I was like, oh, like you didn't feel in control. Mm-hmm. You were at my timetable. And even though it was just a 2-minute difference, that was upsetting because he didn't have a say in those 2 minutes.
Right.
Right. And so I was able to go like, okay, I get it. Like I was coming at this of the place of privilege. You know, I'm a parent, I'm the adult. You have to do what I say. Mm-hmm. That doesn't feel good.
Right.
And that sucks. And I am so sorry. I need to be more aware of that with you. And he calmed right down and was like, yes. But yeah, just being curious.
And like one of the things that we do talk about that I think can be helpful here is like our own body awareness.
Yeah.
Because at least for me, and I am actually curious if you have this experience too. Sometimes when I'm talking to another person, I get like a feeling of like something is off that I'm not getting here. Mm-hmm. Like I'm just picking up a vibe and I'm not sure what it is. And like as I listen to what my body's telling me, I almost have a sense of what it could be. Mm-hmm. So like with our older kid, sometimes we'll be like having a conversation and I get this sense of like, wait, are you feeling really shut down right now? Where it's like looking at him, like there's some indicators, but there's still some response to me.
Yeah.
And I think some people would say, oh, that's just moody teenager stuff, which I think is a different thing.
Yes.
That's its own piece of judgment.
Yes.
But like the feeling I had inside was like, I just feel like something in his nervous system is not okay right now.
Well, this is the like so fascinating and such a good tool for data is those mirror neurons, right? Is all of the nonverbal ways that we pick up another person's mood and experience empathy, right? That we walk into a room, we'll talk about the vibes, like the vibes are off. And, you know, sometimes we take that very personally and we're like, ooh, I'm anxious. I got to get out of here. Whereas if we walk into the room and the vibes are off, we can go, wait a second, who's anxious in here? Who's anxious that I'm picking up on it? Or we're talking to another person and I start to feel closed down and shut off. And I'm like, okay, that's my cue that I got to leave. Oh, wait, no, maybe this person I'm talking to is feeling closed down and shut off. Right? What's happening over there? Where are these experiences coming from? Are they from me or am I picking up on that empathy? Am I picking up on those vibes? Are my mirror neurons doing some work here?
Right. And I am curious for you, like, how does that play out for you? Like, I guess, are there things that help you be attuned to that experience? And then like, are there strategies that help you in a conversation when that's happening? Right.
Like, how do I differentiate what's mine versus what's theirs?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I mean, I'm always going to answer with mindfulness because it's easy to answer that way. Yeah. The more mindfulness you do, the more in touch you are with your body, the more that mind-body connection is really strong. Ideally, then you can differentiate what's yours versus what somebody else's. But curiosity is the answer, really, right? Oh, I'm feeling a feeling. What is that feeling? Where is that coming from? What in my environment might be affecting that? Is a boundary being crossed? Am I tired or hungry? Right? Is this person in front of me starting to shut down, is, whatever it is, just getting more curious about it, which is also mindfulness.
Right.
I think is going to help that. I don't know that that's the like quick and easy answer we want, that like, here's the really easy way to tell what's yours versus what's somebody else's, but that is the way to do it.
I like that. And also, I mean, just like putting it in that frame of reference, it brought a couple things to mind for me that I'm realizing I've tried that have been helpful.
Oh, goody.
One is, and this can be a journaling exercise, an art exercise, just whatever kind of medium you want to use, but really being able to connect to the feelings we have and flesh out the experience.
Yes.
Like, okay, we start from that initial mindfulness place. I'm noticing a tension in my shoulders. I'm noticing a tension in my neck. I'm feeling like I'm noticing the pit in my stomach, or like the tightness in my chest. Like, once we notice it, to then try and flesh it out.
Yeah.
What, like when we say tightness in the chest, like what's the flavor of it? Like what's the image of the tightness? Is it sharp? Is it stabby? Is it boily? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it hollow? Is it heavy?
Yeah.
And really just trying to paint this picture. Like if there was an image in the world to describe what it, like the way that it felt, what would it be?
Yeah.
Is it like a cactus? Is it a pot of boiling water? Is it lava? Is it, whatever, and just really being with that experience.
Oh, I love it.
Because then we're developing the mind-body connection.
Yes.
And we can start to differentiate a little bit. Okay, when I feel this feeling, right, it feels like this.
Yeah.
And then the next step in that is to say, what is it trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember there was this period of time, it was probably like 9 months. I had this knot in my right shoulder, and it felt like a golf ball sized knot.
Yeah.
That would radiate up into the base of my skull and then down into my lungs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's terrible.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
And it started out like intermittent. Like I'd have a stressful meeting and it would pop up. And it would last for a day and then go away.
Yeah.
And then it was, I had the stressful meeting, and then someone would text me about something we talked about in the meeting, and it would come back.
Yeah.
And then I would think about the thing, and then it would come back to the point where it's just always present.
Yeah.
And like, even just talking about it, like I feel this like thing happening in the back of my head, like from like my occiput kind of going up the back of my skull. Where it's like there was this experience of stress that was really intense and in like a prolonged duration.
Yeah.
In part because it took me a long time to be willing to connect to it.
Yes.
But once I connected to it and started to do this fleshing out and say, what is it trying to tell me? It was like, I need to leave the position that I'm in that is leading me into these situations.
Yeah.
Like I'm making my voice heard. It is not being received. And in fact, it's actually being rejected.
Oh, yeah.
And then also I will say, here was my process. My process will then be dismissed, and then someone will come back and ask me to go through the process that I already went through as if I never had done it in the first place.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
And like over and over again for like 9 months until finally I connected to this piece in my body, and I was like, what is it trying to tell me?
Yeah.
And it was like, my expertise, my voice, my process are not just like seen as having no value. They're being invalidated and rejected. And my system is not okay with that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So then I called up the person who was kind of like my immediate supervisor, and I said, I need to be done.
Yeah.
And they were like, great.
Yeah.
But it was like I had to work that process, and we can do the same thing. Ooh, I feel this thing in my gut.
Yeah.
It feels heavy, like a heavy rock.
Yes.
Sinking into water.
Yes.
What's it trying to tell me?
The version of this that I do, I call it stream of consciousness journaling.
Ooh.
Which is basically just what you described, a little less intentional and more just letting the brain go. Like the intention starts at the very beginning and then you just let it go. Right. And it becomes this like, I'm feeling this thing in my body. This is what it is. I'm trying to think the last time I remember, or this wasn't the last time I did it, but a time that I remember doing it in particular, I was very cold and like hot and cold all at the same time. And I was like, I hate this. This is what my body is doing right now. This is what it feels like. I hate it. It's the worst thing ever. I wish it wouldn't do it. It reminds me of this other time that this happened. And then I think of this when it happens and it's like, why is this happening? Right. And I let myself spiral, if you will, but it becomes this stream of consciousness. Just whatever comes out is going to come out. And most of the time when I've done this, I've eventually gotten to a point of compassion, right? Where I get it all out. I've released it. I've come to the logical conclusion. And that conclusion is, oh, I'm okay. And I just need a hug. I'm doing a really hard thing. And I had been doing a really hard thing. And it's okay. I need a hug and a high five. It's like, you're like, what you need. Getting to that sometimes is a whole lot of scooping out all the other stuff so that you can find what that is at the center.
Right.
Yeah.
Which it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
In part because it lets the parts of us that are trying to protect us feel they feel heard and seen and validated and understood, so they can actually relax.
Right.
We also then come to a better understanding of our own system. And when we have more connection to our own system, we then get to have some more space from our protectors.
Right.
So then when they pop up, we can say, well, I see you.
Yeah. Right.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I need you to not drive this car right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I see you. I hear you. I know why you're here. Okay, great. This is information. This is data that we can now use in our communication, in the way we're responding. This is also a thing that I learned in a mindfulness training, I think once, but it was like trigger, reaction, response, and creating space between all of them, right? Things are going to trigger us all the time. They're going to bring up emotions. This is big, little t trigger, not big T trigger, right? But things trigger reactions all the time. And then that reaction is that response is that emotional, like what comes up, the protectors, am I angry? Am I sad? Do I want to run away? Whatever. And then being able to make a choice in how we react.
Yeah.
Right. In what we do with that information. But yeah, curiosity is one way to create space between those three things.
Right. Because we're developing that within ourselves.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is, in the same way that when we create the space within ourselves, we can have more compassion for ourselves.
Yeah.
It allows us to have more compassion for another person.
Yeah. Yeah. Just remember, it's stimulus response.
There you go.
But stimulus and trigger, kind of the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, creating space between any of those, being able to be compassionate for ourselves, but then also understanding that all of us are going through those processes, right? This person I'm sitting across from is being stimulated by something.
Right.
They're having a response to it, right? Are they able to make a conscientious decision about their reaction, about what they do with that stimulus and response? And being able to be curious about it in myself, but also in another person too.
Yeah. And it's so, so helpful and so important. Because a lot of times our inability to be curious is because we don't have enough space inside of ourselves from our own stuff that's popping up.
Right. Okay. So then this is the question. Does curiosity start internally or externally?
I think it can start in both places.
I agree.
Sometimes, because ideally, it would start internally. Sometimes we don't have that ability in us.
Right.
Like we've got too much inside. It's taking up too much space. Like
Right.
we can't actually find the space of curiosity.
Yes.
And we need somebody else to help us find it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it's the same thing with compassion, right? That sometimes having compassion for ourselves is too difficult, but we can have that compassion for another person. Right? It's the same thing. Like sometimes being curious about what's happening in ourselves is too hard, too difficult, too scary. It's too much. And so having curiosity about another person, But hopefully, I mean, ideally, if we're able to develop either internally or externally, we can use that as the blueprint for the other.
Right. And sometimes in a space where we need it to come from an external source, like that is the thing that sets the train in motion. Like one of the questions that I'll often ask a client is, does it feel okay to get curious about that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
And I actually had a client one time tell me how much they appreciate that particular question.
Yeah.
They were like, until you asked me that question, I was really upset that I was feeling the way I was feeling.
Yeah.
And then once you asked me, is it okay to get curious about it? I had to ask myself the question, is it okay to get curious about it? And I was like, actually, wait, I am curious about it.
Yeah.
But they were just too blended with their own stuff.
Right.
And they needed somebody else's nervous system to just hold it with them.
Yes.
And just say, okay, like I see you're really in a hard spot. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Is it feel okay for both of us now to be curious?
Yeah. Okay. So not only do we have the like curiosity we experience for ourselves, the curiosity we experience for other people, but then that felt experience of somebody being curious about us.
Right.
Yes. And how healing that can be.
Right. Particularly if we've had experiences of neglect or where we've experienced a lot of shame.
Right.
Or other things that have left us in that space of internal deficit.
Yeah. Or growing up with a highly enmeshed caregiver, right? Where our emotions had to match their emotions. And so there wasn't ever that opportunity for curiosity for the self, either from an external source or an internal source. Yeah.
Right. And I've actually been thinking, like, what are some ways that maybe can indicate to me that some of these things are showing up?
Okay.
I find that any time that I maybe have really like black and white or like extreme viewpoints, that means that I'm actually most likely in the wrong.
Yeah.
And also like I need to slow down and back up.
Yeah.
Anytime I make a value judgment about a human being rather than a belief or an action.
Yes.
That's another one.
Yes.
Because like, it's not that they're a bad person.
Right.
But maybe their actions or their beliefs are inappropriate.
Yeah.
So those are a couple things. Anytime that I am like demanding that somebody conform.
Yeah.
Like a demand for conforming.
Yeah.
That's another good indication.
Yeah.
That I actually need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And like any of these three things, and obviously we could look at more, but those three things are typically going to be driven by the kinds of things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like when we're being really extreme in our viewpoints, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Most likely we had to be extreme.
Yeah.
Anytime we're demanding that somebody conform to us.
Yeah.
We were also that's probably how we were in an experience where that was the only choice.
Right.
Was you had to conform.
Right.
And non-conformity was unsafe.
Right.
Or anytime we make value judgments about another person, if we're being honest, the value judgment is about them. It's actually about us. We're just putting it on them.
Ugh, yes. Yes, that's so true. As you're saying all this, I can't help but think about like our current political climate and our country and how much we are lacking this curiosity about anybody who is other in any way. That we're lacking that curiosity of like, where are you coming from? Why is this so important to you? What's that experience? Right. And digging deep until we can get to that core fear, because usually that core fear is a universal thing. Right. And we can find connection there then at that universal fear, that core value, whatever it is. But we're lacking so much curiosity in these political and social divides.
I actually was thinking about an experience that I had. It's probably been like a year and a half at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be careful on how I articulate this experience. But there's a community that I've been a part of for a long time.
Okay.
And there's a really big rupture that happened.
Okay.
That resulted in a big division happening. Like a whole bunch of people like left and kind of went to do their own thing.
Okay.
There's a few people who kind of were like in both groups, right?
Sure.
And they were trying to stay in between. Like they were connected to people on both sides of this divide. Big rupture. They're trying to stay connected. And it was really interesting to see what happened, where anyone who was associated with the group who stepped away became immediately othered.
Oh.
There was no curiosity. There was no compassion.
Yep.
There was simply, you're part of them.
Yeah.
You're not welcome here.
Yeah.
And it led to some really like unkind, inappropriate othering.
Yeah.
Where like in service projects, like community service projects that people were doing, like the people who had stayed, they like shut people out. They stonewalled them. They rejected them. They were like, you're no longer welcome here. Like really harsh stuff. There was people like signing petitions and like, it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was really concerned and honestly caused me to create a lot of distance from people because I was like, I can't be part of that othering.
Right.
Like there's just no space. It's like either you're with us or you're against us.
Yeah.
And if you're against us, you are like not even a person anymore.
Oh, that's so hard. Like it's such a scary thing to have, like, one, people break off from a system that you believe in, that you're invested in, whatever else, because that can feel like a judgment, right? That what we're doing is wrong, which then a lot of times hits our core fears and beliefs that I am in some way wrong at a soul deep level. So like I have so much compassion for those people. And like, you're absolutely right. What was missing was that curiosity piece. I had this experience being the one who left a long time ago religion and being called every name under the sun and questioning my devotion to my family, to my children, everything. And I remembered wishing, like, I just wish these people would ask why. Like, why am I hurt? Why am I leaving? Why doesn't this work for me anymore? Right? Because it wasn't ever like it was just you're wrong, come back, you're wrong, that missed that compassion piece. Gosh, what a difficult situation to be in.
Right.
For everybody. It
was really, and it's still hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I'm kind of one of the people that has a foot in each world. Like
sure.
I have friends in both camps.
Yeah.
And I also feel really awkward in both places now.
Yeah. Because
some of what happened was like, in the negative response from like the original group, the second group became equally antagonistic. And I remember being at this, it was like a rite of passage type experience. And like I got one of my kids there. And like for like 4 days, people from both groups that are there. And I just didn't want to be near any of them because anytime they got close to each other, it was like you just feel this, like the charge.
Yeah.
And there was like people yelling at each other or like giving each other the cold shoulder. It was like people were so dug in of like, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That I was like, no healing is going to take place.
Ugh.
Like all of the judgment that's happening right now, all of the othering that is happening right now, we're just like, it's like a wound has opened and we're like actively just trying to hold it open and like make it even bigger, like just tear it open.
Yeah. And you being somebody who like can have compassion and curiosity from both sides and be like, yeah, I get it. I see it, being stuck there right in the middle. I bet your body did not like that.
Nope.
If I remember correctly, didn't you get sick?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Your body was like, nope, we're not having this.
Yeah. And so now I like am minimally involved on both sides of that table.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things that I did try and do, and I don't want this to sound like I'm somehow better than anybody,
Right.
but I was like, I honestly have no idea what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I know is like there's this big rupture and
Yeah.
people are freaking out over it.
Yeah.
I was like, I conveniently have this gig where I take microphones and I talk to people.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was like, cool. I just sent some people a message in the group that split off, and I was like, hey, how would you feel if we sat down? I want to talk to all of you and just get the like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
And all the audio from that experience like didn't work out.
Yeah.
I had a great experience.
Yeah.
And it gave me so much insight into what had really happened.
Yeah.
And conveniently, just because of the role that I was in, of like, I'm using this as an interview.
Yeah.
Like, I just get to ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah. You just get to be curious.
Right.
Yes.
And what it did was it gave me so much context and understanding for what had happened.
Yeah.
And it helped me to be able to see like, oh, there's a lot of growth that can happen here from this.
Yeah.
And I was able to have so much more compassion.
Yeah.
And that like really eased a lot of the tension that I experienced, at least in the short term.
Oh, okay. So I love this so much. So like we're seeing this, like how this lack of curiosity is really not great, that has created this big rift that is a struggle for you, who somebody is like, yeah, I can see both sides and I still have investment in either side. And I can see where one is helpful and the other one might not be as helpful, but is helpful in other and different ways, right? Having that, feeling all of that tension, your body really rejecting it all. And then you then coming in and being like, okay, I'm going to involve some curiosity here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to listen. I'm going to get curious, and having, just for you at least, that like decrease in all of that tension and that anxiety and whatever else. Amazing, amazing and brilliant. I love this.
Yeah. Made a huge difference.
Yeah.
It also helped me to be able to see ways that I've pretended to be curious in the past.
Oh, dang. All right. Don't call me out like that. But yeah.
But I think we do that too, right? I think sometimes it's
Yes.
easy to say, oh, I'm so curious because I
Yeah.
ask lots of questions.
Yes.
But
No.
if we're being real, we can definitely pretend to curiosity.
Performative curiosity.
Yeah, we can definitely perform it.
Yes.
So I don't know,
Yes.
like, I guess for you, like, how do you see that playing out?
Oh, I keep coming back to this interviewer that I have listened to some podcasts that this person has done, who genuinely has the most interesting people on their podcast. But I feel like every single time they interview someone, they're fishing for an answer they want.
Mm.
And that to me feels like performative curiosity. I'm asking you a very leading question to get an answer that I want,
Mm-hmm.
right? Rather than like, hey, I just want to hear your story and whatever comes up, let's follow that and see where it goes.
Yeah.
That feels like performative curiosity to me. I think also like there's like some arrogance in performative curiosity.
Mhm.
Like, look at me, I'm so curious. And like, I just approach the world from curiosity. And then they show up without any opinions or without any, like in the face of, maybe like real atrocities, being like, well, let's just be curious about this. That's not the time for curiosity, right? That's the time for advocating for, standing up and saying this isn't right, whatever else, right?
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, we gotta be careful of that performative piece of, any of these traits that we're talking about.
Yeah. There's like like confirmation bias.
Right. Yes.
Where we ask questions from a place of
Yes.
trying to confirm our own opinions.
Yes, which if we know anything of science and of research and of doing these scientific studies, we have a question and we want to come in and disprove our hypothesis. We want to disprove, like that's the goal of science, is disproving what we're hoping, might be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that.
At least, I mean, maybe not in a conscious way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We definitely do come in. Like, I think all of us are guilty of this. Is like we're asking questions to prove a point.
Right.
Like I'm looking to get to a place where I can either support my own opinion or disprove yours or both.
I think people use the Socratic method in that way a lot. They're asking questions to prove themselves right and you wrong. Yeah.
Right. Which really makes me think of, like, when we put it in the frame of like scientific method, if I'm trying to disprove a hypothesis, it makes me think of the idea of beginner's mind.
Okay. Say more.
So it's a Zen philosophy that it doesn't matter how much knowledge and experience you have, you should always approach every experience as if you were a beginner.
Oh,
as if you know nothing.
Yeah.
Meaning not that I am saying my experience, my knowledge has no value.
Right.
But from the perspective of I can always learn something new.
Yeah.
From every person and every experience I come into.
Yeah. I was just with a coaching client. We were talking about leadership. And this client is in a new leadership position and was, having all the imposter syndrome like we all do. Right. And we were talking about how to be a good leader. And I kind of stumbled upon this. I was like, oh, in the times when I'm teaching and somebody asks me a question and I don't have the answer and, I get kind of freaked out. Being able to turn that around and be like, okay, what is your clinical intuition telling you? Or, what is your expert intuition telling you? Turning that back around, usually opens up some really good discussions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be hard when you think that you have to be an expert to then not be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like one of the most important moments as a teacher was when I learned I don't know is sometimes the best answer to give.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And for so many reasons, but one of them is it's okay to not be an expert in everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we can be an expert in not knowing. And that is a huge skill to have, right? Being able to go and do the research and find the answers, right? Being able to go wow, that's such a great question that I don't have an answer to, but I might know somebody who might have the answer, or I might be able to find a way to go get the answer. Or maybe you are just trying to confirm what you already know by coming to somebody that you see as an expert that maybe really isn't. What's your gut telling you about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I love that, right? To honor the wisdom that another person has inside their system.
Yeah.
To say no, you have a lot of wisdom in here. I really want to understand where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And there definitely are times where, like you said, I think about times when I had to maybe tell somebody their behavior wasn't appropriate. Right.
Yeah.
And you can do that and say, this is not appropriate.
Yeah.
Are we on the same page about that?
Yeah.
Now help me understand how you got from wherever you were to this moment. Walk me through this process.
Yeah.
And there are definitely times when I have not done that well. I'd say plenty.
Yes. We got to mess up a few times till we figure out how to do it well.
But I also find that when we're really open, when we come in from that attitude of not knowing, we learn a lot about people in a way and in a way that helps us appreciate them more. Walk me through your process. What the heck was going on here?
Yeah.
I literally have no clue what got you here.
Yeah.
So help me understand.
Yeah.
I'm well, actually, my mom's in the hospital and I haven't slept in a couple of days and I'm really stressed out and I think my mom's going to die. And, I had some unexpected medical bills come up and I'm struggling to pay my rent and I just really wasn't thinking clearly. And it's oh.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it almost sounds like curiosity and compassion go hand in hand.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really do.
Yeah.
The more curious we are, the more compassionate we can be.
Yes. Yeah. Which again, I think is missing from a lot of the political and social sphere right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess if we were to recommend some practices for people to develop curiosity.
Well, I like mindfulness always, go to that mindfulness place. But I would say develop an appreciation for questions, whatever they are, whether it's somebody asking you a question, just appreciating and sitting with the question before you think you have an answer, appreciating that, but also learning how to ask questions. I had when it was a 101 level class, the teacher, this was 25 years ago or more, teacher said, if you want to be a good conversationalist, just learn how to ask questions. And people will always walk away going, wow, what a good conversation. Because people want to talk. And if you can get them talking, it's all that asking questions. So anyway, that's always stuck with me. So develop an appreciation for the question.
I love that. And I would add on to that, like in conversation, find ways to validate.
Yes.
And ask those clarifying questions.
Yeah.
Look for every opportunity to validate another person.
Yeah. So I do have a resource for validation that I love. And I honestly think if more people read this book, relationships would be better. It's called I Don't Have to Make Everything All Better. Yeah. And it's really just you don't have to fix it. Right? Just be curious about it and validate it.
Yeah. Sometimes all we need to do is just be with a thing.
Yes.
We don't actually have to fix it.
Yes. Okay. So mindfulness, curiosity, validation, questions. Yeah.
There's some really beautiful places to go.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many ways you can practice questions, right? Like you can pick a thing that you are interested in or that you don't know about, and then just ask as many questions as you can and try and find the answers to them.
I love it.
Right.
Here for it.
My curiosity practice for non-people centric things is black holes.
Oh, I went down a Reddit black hole once about black holes, and it was fascinating.
Black holes are a great place to invite curiosity.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Physics in general, man. They're freaking weird. Yeah. So asking the questions, but then finding also things for you to be curious about, right? And I think that's also that like playfulness, feeding that inner child, right? Being more curious about the world around you, all ways to develop curiosity.
Right.
I love it.
Right. And the mindfulness practice really is so beautiful because we can be more in tune with why, or like when we don't feel curious and instead feel judgmental or critical.
Right. Right. Being able to recognize that, notice that. Yeah. Take a little step back from it. Yeah.
Right. And then as a piece of the mindfulness practice, like bringing in art or journaling as an exploratory exercise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Find the thing and then flesh it out.
Yes. Yes. Dig deep.
Right.
Yes. Dig through the darkness. Go into the cave. Yeah.
When it really does feel like what you were saying, curiosity is like an ointment to a wound that we are experiencing, like as a collective.
Yes.
Like there's a wound that we are sitting in.
Yes.
Where people are othered.
Yeah.
And judged without any understanding of their lived experience.
Yep.
And in order to experience repair, we need to become curious about the experience because that will lead us to compassion.
Yeah.
And compassion leads us to repair.
So to heal the rupture of othering, we employ curiosity. I could not agree more.
Yeah. So if people are feeling a rupture, get curious.
Get curious. Yes. Please get curious.
Inside and out.
Yeah. In all of the ways.
Yes.
And then send us all of your questions so that we can flesh them out too.
Right. Well, and I always love hearing experiences from people where curiosity helped them see themselves or somebody else different. I really do love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
here for it.
as you listen to our conversation today, you may have noticed where judgment shows up most quickly in your own life, or where you use the performance of curiosity as a defense mechanism, especially in moments of conflict, disagreement, or uncertainty. Judgment can feel like clarity. It gives us quick answers and a sense of certainty about who's right and who's wrong, but it often comes at the cost of connection. Curiosity slows that process down. It creates space to ask better questions, to understand the deeper experiences shaping someone else's perspective, and sometimes even to discover parts of ourselves we hadn't fully seen before. That doesn't mean that curiosity eliminates disagreement, but it can transform how we hold it, shifting us from opposition towards relationship. If this episode resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who values deeper conversations about growth, connection, and community. Thanks for listening and for being part of this ongoing exploration together as part of the Fertile Dark. And as always, keep delving deep and embracing the journey.